Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Encourage Me podcast. I am your host, Susan Thomas, and I am so excited that you joined us once again. It's been a minute, y'all. Life started to take over, but all is well. God has been so faithful unto us, and for that we will continue to rejoice. We will continue to give him all the glory that is due his mighty name. Well, can you believe that we are already in the second quarter of the year? My God, this year, 2023, is definitely moving along. It's definitely moving swiftly. Just in case you haven't noticed, since the beginning of the year, I'm sure many of you have made some new personal commitments. Many of you have, written down new visions, new goals, new ambitions for this year. And I'm not sure who this might be for on tonight, but just in case you find yourself in a discouraged place, just in case you find yourself in a place where you feel, well, I haven't achieved everything that I set out to do on this year. Maybe things are not going exactly the way you anticipated for it to go. I want to encourage you on tonight that this is a good time to get back on track. This is a good time to get back on your grind. This is a good time to pick yourself back up and to begin again. But I also want you to know on tonight, don't feel bad for your setbacks, because setbacks are so necessary for your success. How many of you know that sometimes life has a tendency to throw you a curveball, right? Things are going to happen. And there are some situations that will literally catch you off guard. And I'm talking about unexpected situations. In fact, sometimes we can find ourselves getting into a slump, right? Where you find it difficult and you find it a challenge to pick yourself back up in order to shift from that sunken place. And I'm talking about where you feel like you don't want to do absolutely anything, or you don't want to go absolutely anywhere. Why? Because of those unexpected situations that showed up in your life to throw you off track, to interrupt your focus, and to shift your flow. But I want to encourage you on tonight. Don't allow your setbacks to set you back. And don't allow your setbacks to deter you or shift you from your focus or from the place that God has you. Don't allow your setbacks to stagnate you, because if you allow it to, it definitely will. I want you to know that setbacks will interrupt your life sometimes in order for you to reevaluate where you are in order to make some necessary changes and adjustments in your life. Sometimes your setbacks mean that you have to go all the way back to the drawing board in order to start again. Yes, sometimes it's necessary to just start all over again. Sometimes it's necessary to go back to the original place of your motivation in order to reevaluate where you are right now, in order to learn from it, grow from it, move on. But I need you to understand this. Whatever you do, don't allow your setbacks to become your place of stagnation, because those setbacks are nothing more than speed bumps. Yeah, just speed bumps. So tonight, allow me to speak to you for a few minutes from the subject. Don't avoid the speed bumps. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. how many of you know that setbacks are nothing more than speed bumps? And it's not always a bad thing. So I know you might be saying, well, nobody wants to keep running over speed bumps when you're on your way somewhere. Nobody feels like feeling an impact of those bumps. But how many of you know that speed bumps are strategically placed on roads to not only encourage you to slow down, but to prevent you from causing an accident or becoming a victim of one? So God will sometimes allow those speed bumps to interrupt your destination because sometimes He just needs you to slow down. Or sometimes He's just trying to get your attention. Sometimes there needs to be a shift to your acceleration, a shift to your pace in order for God to heal you from some things, or mature you, or develop you, prepare you, or even better equip you to where He's taking you. Whew. Well, I believe that is a good place right there to pause and give God praise, saying, Lord, I thank you for my speed bumps, despite of how uncomfortable it may be. So how many know you could be so ready to get to your destination, but at the same time, not be prepared when you get there? And that is why God will allow those speed bumps to come as a means for sharpening you or preparing you for the bigger bumps that's coming. Just like David in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 17. See, the people, they only saw him as a young and an inexperienced shepherd boy. But what the people did not know was that God was preparing him even while caring for the sheep. And God had already chosen, appointed, and anointed him for a greater assignment. And so David had setbacks too while caring for the sheep. But with every setback, it never shifted him from remaining focused on his assignment. Yes, the bears came, the lions came, and yes, it did try to sabotage his assignment. But David had no fear, and he knew that God was with him. And so he confronted every opposing situation and was successful in passing the test of that setback. So in other words, every setback was a setup for his success. Because little did David know, God was preparing him for a greater opposition, for a greater challenge, for a greater responsibility. But catch this. Because David never aborted his assignment as a shepherd boy, and because he endured every setback, he was prepared to be who God ordained for him to be. So now you understand why speed bumps are so necessary. Don't avoid those speed bumps. You know how we do in the natural when we're on our way somewhere and we see a speed bump in the road. So we try to go around that speed bump. We try to avoid that speed bump so that we can accelerate our pace to where we're going. to avoid that uncomfortable bump. Sometimes that's how it feels in the natural. Because we want to avoid that uncomfortable season, that difficult season. When God is saying, no, my child, this season is necessary for your development. You've got to get over this one. This right here is necessary for where I'm taking you. So God is saying, let me slow you down so you can learn patience. Let me slow you down so you can learn endurance. Slow down so you can develop some spiritual muscles. Slow down before you wreck yourself. I gotta slow them down so I can teach them my voice, because they're not listening. Let me slow them down so that they become familiar with these bumps, because how many know that if you don't get over the bumps, if you don't endure this bump, you won't survive the next one. You may not understand why it's so vital for you to endure this season of your life, but I want to encourage you on tonight. Don't question it. Don't get upset about it. But understand that there's a reason for your setback season. And God has an appointed time for everything to come into its rightful place. So don't avoid the speed bumps. Well, I don't know about you, but this really encouraged me on tonight. Thank you for taking the time to join today's podcast. And I pray that you have an amazing evening. Until next time, be blessed. Bye-bye.